Don't skip ahead. Give me 30 seconds. I know how this usually goes. You clicked. You're half listening. The TV's on in the other room, and part of you already figures this is going to be the same thing you've heard 100 times before. Fine. 30 seconds. Then you decide. Here's why I think you stopped tonight. Somewhere in the last week or two, you had a moment. Maybe in the kitchen. Maybe in the car in a parking lot before you went inside. Maybe at 2 a.m. when the house was so quiet you could hear the refrigerator running. And in that moment something in you went, is this it? Is this just how it is from here on out? You didn't say it to anybody. You wouldn't. You've never been the type. But you thought it, and that's why you're here. Now I want to tell you what this is, so you know whether to stay. There are 3 things I need to say to you tonight. The first one is about what you've been feeling, and I'm going to be more honest about it than most people are willing to be. The second one is about something Jesus said and did that almost nobody talks about, and it's going to change how you read the last few years of your life. And the third one, I'll be honest with you, the third one is the reason I made this. It's the part that people come back and write to me about weeks later, so stay through the third one. That's all I ask. Let's start. You've been lonely, not the dramatic kind, not the kind anybody would notice. You go to work, or you used to. You do the shopping. You wave at the neighbor. You show up where you're supposed to show up, and you're pleasant when you get there. But there's a difference between being around people and being known. And somewhere in the last several years you crossed a line from one to the other, and nobody rang a bell when it happened. The phone doesn't ring the way it used to. The kids are grown and they love you, they do. But they've got their own storm to weather now. Their jobs, their kids, their mortgage. You'd never say a word about it because you remember being that busy yourself. So you wait for Sunday. And when Sunday comes and the call's short, you tell yourself that's fine. That's just how it is. They're busy. But you hang up, and the house is quieter than it was before the call. Some of you set the coffee pot for 2 out of pure habit, and then remembered. Some of you have a chair in the living room that nobody sits in anymore. Some of you are married and still lonely, which is the version nobody talks about, because who would you even tell? You're in the same house, you watch the same shows, and you haven't had a real conversation, the kind where somebody actually asks how you are and waits for the true answer in a very long time. And you feel guilty for even noticing. That's the part that gets me. You feel guilty about being lonely, like it's ungrateful, like you don't have a right to it because there are people worse off. You have a right to it. Something else. Somewhere in your 50s or 60s, the funerals started. First it was parents. Then it was people your own age, which is a whole different feeling. Somebody you went to high school with. Somebody from work. You sat in the pew. You said the right things to their family. And you drove home in silence and didn't tell a soul what had stirred up in you. Your world got smaller, and you didn't consent to it. It just happened, one person at a time. And here's the piece that hurts worst. Somewhere along the way, you started to think it might be you. Not out loud, never out loud, but some night when you were tired, the thought slipped in the back door and said, maybe I'm just hard to be around. Maybe I was only ever needed, not wanted. Maybe when I stopped being useful, that's when it all went quiet. I need to stop right there because that one has to be dealt with before we go any further. That thought is a liar. It's been in your head so long it's learned to sound like your own voice, and that's the trick of it. But listen to what it actually claims. It claims you were only ever valuable for what you produced, that you were the paycheck, or the cooking, or the rides, or the strong one who held it together, and once the job was done, you got set on a shelf. Everything in you knows that's not how a person's worth works. You'd never say that about anybody else. You'd be furious if somebody said it about your own child. You're not hard to love. You've been underloved. Those aren't the same thing, and you've been mixing them up for years. All right, that was the first thing. Now stay with me, because the second one is where this turns, and I don't want you to hear it halfway. Everybody says God is with you. You've heard it your whole life. You heard it in church. You saw it on a card somebody sent you when your mother died. You've probably said it to somebody else while you were hugging them at a funeral. And it's true, but it's been said so many times that it's gone smooth like a stone in a river. It doesn't catch on anything anymore. So let me say it a different way. Jesus knows what your Tuesday nights feel like, not as a theory, not from a distance. Think about his actual life for a minute, not the stained glass version, the real one. The crowds followed him everywhere, thousands of people, and he kept walking off by himself up into the hills at night to be alone with his Father, because there wasn't a single person down there who could carry what he was carrying. The people he grew up with didn't believe him. Neighbors, people who'd known him since he was a boy. They ran him out of his own hometown. His own brothers thought he'd lost his mind. That's in the book. His family came to get him because they thought he'd cracked. And then there's the garden. The night before he died, he took the 3 men closest to him out to a grove of olive trees. He was in agony. Scripture says his sweat was like drops of blood. And he asked them for one thing, not a miracle, not advice. Stay awake with me. That's it. Just don't leave me alone in this. They fell asleep. He came back and found them sleeping. He woke them up, went off to pray again, came back, sleeping again, 3 times. Now think about that. On the worst night of his life, the 3 people who loved him most on this earth couldn't stay awake for him for 1 hour. He knows. He knows what it is to be surrounded and still by yourself. He knows what it is to love people who couldn't love you back at the same depth, and to keep loving them anyway. He knows the specific feeling of asking somebody to show up for you and watching them not show up. So when he comes near you in your quiet house, he's not slumming it. He's not visiting some foreign country he's read about. He's been there. He's lived on that street. And that changes what his presence means, doesn't it? It's not pity from above. It's recognition. It's somebody sitting down next to you who's actually been in that chair. Now, here comes the question. And I know it's the question because it's the one you've never asked out loud in a Bible study. If he's with me, why does it still feel this empty? That's fair. That's an honest question, and it deserves an honest answer, not a bumper sticker. I'm going to give you one, but I need to build up to it, because if I just say it flat, you'll nod and forget it by morning, and I don't want that. I want this one to stick to your ribs. So do this with me first. Stop looking at what's in your life right now. Look at what's missing. The friend who dropped off. The one you'd have sworn would be at your funeral, and now you don't have their current number. The relationship that ended when you were sure that was the one, and you spent a couple of years wondering what was wrong with you. The job you didn't get. The promotion that went to somebody with half your years in. The move you almost made, the house you almost bought. The chance that looked perfect right up until it evaporated and nobody ever explained why. The door that shut so hard you finally quit knocking on it and told yourself you didn't care. You've been keeping that list your whole life, and you've been reading it as a list of rejections, evidence, proof that you kept coming up short. Let me read it back to you a different way. Some of those doors didn't close on you. They closed in front of you. That's a small difference in words and an enormous difference in meaning. Because here's what you've never gotten to see. You've never seen the life where that person stayed. You don't know what 5 more years with them would have cost you, what it would have done to your health, what it would have taken from your kids. You've never met the version of yourself who got that opportunity 20 years ago, back when you weren't ready for it, back before life had sanded off the parts that needed sanding off. You only see the door closing. You've never once been shown what was on the other side of it. Now I'm not going to sit here and tell you every hard thing was secretly a blessing. That's not true. And you'd know I was lying. Some loss is just loss. Some of it was cruel, and it shouldn't have happened, and you're allowed to grieve it without somebody tying a bow on it. But not all of it. Some of what you're still mourning tonight was a mercy you couldn't recognize at the time. Some of that silence wasn't abandonment. It was subtraction. Somebody was taken out of your story, and it felt like being left, but it was closer to being spared. Here's the thing about protection. It never announces itself. It doesn't send you a letter afterward explaining what it just saved you from. It just lets the door close. It lets you sit in the car and cry. And then it waits, sometimes for years, for the day you finally look back and go, oh, I get it now. Some of you are close to that day, closer than you think. Let me put it in a picture, because I think it'll land better. You've got a shepherd standing out on a hillside at night. The sheep are down in the low ground. Now those sheep don't know what's out in that tree line. They never see it. All they know is it's cold, it's dark, it's been a long night, and they feel awfully alone out there in that open field. They have no idea that the only reason nothing came out of those trees is that somebody stood between them and it all night long. And nobody ever thanked him. He didn't need thanking. He just stood there. That's been your life. You thought you were unprotected because you were unaccompanied. You were never unprotected. You've been guarded so steadily, so quietly for so many years that you mistook the safety for emptiness. That's the answer to your question. That's why it can feel empty and be full at the same time. Now let me show you something that proves it, and it's sitting right in front of you. Look at what you've come through. Go on. Count it up, honest. The stretch that should have wrecked you and somehow didn't. The year you didn't think you'd get through, and here you are. The betrayal that had every right to turn you cold and mean and small, and you didn't turn cold. You're still soft enough that a message like this one gets to you. After everything they did, after everything you carried, you're sitting there right now and something in your chest is responding. Do you understand what that means? Something's been keeping a light on inside you. That's not toughness. Toughness runs out, and yours should have run out years ago. That's grace. That's somebody holding a candle in a room you were dead certain had gone dark. If that just landed on you, if you felt it before your brain had a chance to argue, go down there and type amen. Not because a word in a comment box changes anything up in heaven. It doesn't. That was settled about you a long time ago. Type it because there's something that happens when a person who feels invisible says out loud, even just in text, I'm here, and I still believe. And because tonight there are thousands of people, a whole lot of them your age, sitting in houses just as quiet as yours, typing that same word. Scroll through those names for a minute. Read a few. You've been thinking you were the only one. Go do it. Then come back, because I promised you a third thing. And the third thing is why I'm here. There's a story I keep coming back to for people in your season, and I'd bet money you've heard it. Stay with it anyway, because I don't think you've heard this part. A boat, a lake, a storm. Those men in the boat weren't tourists. 4 of them were commercial fishermen. That was their water. They'd worked it their whole lives, and they knew what it could do, and they were terrified, bailing with their hands, yelling over the wind, absolutely certain they were going down, and he was asleep. Asleep, in the stern, in a storm bad enough to scare career fishermen out of their minds. They shook him awake and said the thing you've said in your own words at your own kitchen table. Don't you care that we're drowning? He got up. He spoke to the wind, and the lake went flat as glass. Now here's what I want you to catch, because most people run right past it. The peace was in that boat before the storm ever stopped. He was asleep in the middle of it. The calm didn't show up when the wind died down. The calm was already on board, breathing slow and steady in the back of that boat. The entire time those men were losing their minds. Now bring that home. You've spent your whole adult life trying to get peace by getting your circumstances to cooperate. You know you have. When the kids are settled, when we've got the debt paid, when my back stops hurting, when the tests come back clean, when somebody finally chooses me, when this house isn't so quiet, then I'll be all right. You've been running that arrangement for 40 years and it has never once delivered. Be honest with yourself. Every time you got to the thing, there was another thing behind it. The peace you're after isn't waiting on the other side of your situation. It's a person, and he is already in the boat. Now, I'm not telling you to fake it. I'm not telling you to put on a face and pretend the storm isn't real. The storm is real. The water in the bottom of that boat is real. Your loneliness is real and it's heavy, and I'm not going to stand here and shrink it down to make my point easier. I'm telling you the calm doesn't have to wait on the weather. Something can settle in you tonight that has nothing whatsoever to do with your circumstances changing tomorrow. A steadiness way down underneath the noise, still water down deep while the top of it is still churning. Picture the room you're in right now, only dim, not pitch black, just dim, gray. The kind of dark you quit noticing a long time ago because your eyes adjusted and you forgot they'd adjusted. Then one line of light under the door, then the door starts to move. Then it's across the floor and across your hands and up onto your face. And standing there in it, you realize you'd forgotten what warm felt like. You'd gotten used to cold and started calling it normal. That's what's on the table for you. Not a fantasy, not a promise about what's going to happen next Tuesday, because I don't know what's going to happen next Tuesday, and neither does anybody else who's honest with you, but a real turning. And a real turning always starts inside a person a good while before anybody on the outside can see it. So let me tell you who you actually are, not who the quiet told you that you were. You're not forgotten. Being overlooked by people is not the same thing as being overlooked by God. And you've been treating those two as one thing for a long, long time. You're not too much. You've been handing yourself to people who weren't built to hold what you carry. That's not a defect in you. That's a mismatch, and there's a difference. You're not weak. Weak doesn't survive what you've survived and come out still kind. You carried that weight with no audience, no applause, nobody keeping score, and you kept on carrying it. Nobody handed you a plaque for that. I'm handing you one now. You're not too late. This is the one I hear the most from people your age, and I want to take it head on. You have decades of judgment in you that most people will never have. You know things now that you would have paid dearly for at 30. Slow is not lost. Delayed is not denied. And a chapter that starts at 58 is still a chapter. You're not being punished. Say that again in your head. This season is not a sentence handed down. Some of the most important work God does in a person happens in a room with nobody else in it. And you are not finished. Whatever page you're on, it isn't the last one. You've been standing in the middle of your own story, judging the whole thing like it's already over. Nobody reads 2/3 of a book and calls the whole thing a tragedy. Give your life the same fairness you'd give a paperback. You went through fire and you didn't burn up. You bent and you didn't break. And the part of you that's still hoping, the part that clicked on this and stayed all the way to here when you could have gone to bed, that's the strongest thing about you. Guard it. It's worth guarding. Now before you go, let me put something in your hands. Feelings wear off by morning. And I don't want you to wake up tomorrow with nothing but a nice feeling you can't find anymore. First one, breathe. Right now, one real breath, deeper than the shallow ones you've been taking all day without noticing. Loneliness lives in a tight chest. Take one honest breath before you do anything else tonight. Second, quit knocking on the door that's already shut. You know exactly which one. The person who won't choose you. The relationship you keep trying to resuscitate, the apology you're still waiting for from somebody who's never going to give it. Every hour you stand at that door is an hour you're not walking toward one that's open. Grieve it all the way, and then turn around. Third, take one step toward an actual human being this week. One. Not a whole social life. I know you're not up for that. Just one. Make the call you've been putting off for a year. Say yes to the thing you were going to decline. Go sit somewhere with other people in the room, even if it's a diner counter and you don't say a word. Faith and company aren't opposites. Half the time, the answer to a lonely prayer walks in the door wearing shoes. Fourth, and this one's important at your age, be careful who you let in while you're lonely. Loneliness lowers the bar. It makes almost good look plenty good enough. There are people who go looking for exactly the kind of quiet you're living in, and they are very charming about it. You've waited too long and paid too much to hand your peace to the first person who pays you attention. Keep your standard. It's not stubbornness, it's protection. Fifth, stop treating your alone time like a punishment and start treating it like room. There's something you've never built because you were waiting on company that never came. Build it anyway. The garden, the book, the prayer life, the trade you never got to learn, the forgiving you've been putting off. Use the quiet instead of just enduring it. Sixth, talk to him plain, not church words. He's not grading you on your grammar, and he's heard everything a human being can say. Say the actual thing, the angry thing, the tired thing, the I don't understand what you're doing thing. Honesty is a form of closeness. He can hold every word of it, and he won't flinch. And one more, and I say this gently, if what you're carrying has gotten heavier than loneliness, if it's turned into the kind of dark where you've started wondering whether it matters that you're here, please tell one real person, your doctor, a pastor, a counselor, your daughter, a helpline. Reaching out for help isn't small faith. Most of the time, it's how the help actually shows up. If this brought any peace into your night at all, hit the like button. Takes you a second, and it's what puts this in front of the next person sitting in a quiet house tonight. And if somebody came to mind while you were listening, somebody who's fine in public and struggling in private, send it to them. You might be the only person all week who lets them know they were thought of. If you want more of these, subscribe. This channel is for the ones who keep believing quietly, in rooms nobody sees. And if something moved in you tonight, if you're done thinking of yourself as forgotten, and you're willing to walk into the next chapter without knowing what's in it, go write "I am ready" down in the comments. Write it like a decision, not a wish. Then read a few of the others. Those are your people. That's a whole congregation of quiet, faithful, overlooked folks who all showed up here thinking they were the only one. You weren't ever as alone in this as it looked. One last thing, and then I'll let you go. You're gonna close this in about a minute. The room's going to be quiet again. Everything out there is going to look exactly like it looked before you hit play. But something's different, and I want you to know what it is. You're not going to be able to look at that quiet room the same way anymore, because now you know. The quiet was never proof you'd been left. It was the sound of a room being guarded. Some of what you've been grieving was a subtraction you'll thank heaven for one day. And the presence you've been begging to feel has been in there the whole time. Not loud, not putting on a show, just steady, asleep in the back of the boat, standing between you and the tree line, holding a candle in a room you were sure had gone dark years ago. You are not alone tonight. You've been alone in a way that human eyes couldn't confirm. And those are two different things. Your story isn't over. It's turning. Your pain wasn't wasted. It was invested. Your waiting wasn't empty. It was getting you ready for a chapter you can't see yet. So go to bed in peace tonight. Not because everything's fixed. It isn't. And I won't pretend otherwise. But because the one who's walked you this far has no history of turning around. And when the morning comes, and it will come, remember what you knew tonight. You were seen the whole time. You were kept the whole time. You were loved the whole time. Peace be with you. Go gently. Amen.